Hello there everyone, my name is Crazy Caleb and welcome to Puzzle Pandemonium. No, this is not the bomb called Puzzle Pandemonium, although I believe there is a bomb called that, but in this case this is a new module that just recently got released. So, what we have here on the first display is going to be one of the series of 4 different puzzles that we're going to have to solve in a 4x4 grid. Each of them will be associated with a 4x4 grid, and in this case each of the puzzles is going to be Lights Out, Sudoku, Karasu, and Plumbing in this case. Top. Now, all of these are puzzles that we have seen somewhere else, or potentially something similar of the works. The only one we haven't really seen would be Kakarasu, how you pronounce it. But we have seen Sudoku, we have seen Lights Out, and we have seen Plumbing in this game. There are other modules that are related to this. There are the modules related to each of these puzzles individually, and if you need some help with this, some of these puzzles, they're really all straightforward, and there's no way that you can strike on this module. So I will be going over each of these different methods, basically how they work. So in this case, the first one that we're looking at here is we're looking at the Kakurasu. In this case, this is what we got here. So now, what exactly are we trying to do with this module here? So there's going to be 4 4x4 grids will be present on the module, but exactly one of them will display information while the others are hidden. Each of the 4x4 grids is a different puzzle, in this case as you can see all 4 puzzles here, and where each cell can be selected to affect that puzzle. So in this case we can simply do that, we can simply press whatever we want here, and it will affect simply that puzzle. Now, you must solve each puzzle shown on the module in order to disarm this module. Now, in order, there's no particular order that you actually need to solve them in. You just simply need to solve all 4 puzzles at some point. However, each puzzle is linked to another puzzle such that clicking on one cell in the first puzzle will click on the same cell in another puzzle. That it may not be explicit which puzzles are linked up to which, but the links will be circular. So in this case, what we're doing here is at some given point, we are pressing this tile on this specific puzzle here, but we're also pressing the same tile in some other puzzle at some point. Now, one of the nice things is that once you solve a puzzle, it simply will not be able to be interacted with anymore. So you will, once a puzzle is solved, it will simply be done for good. So, now after an indeterminate amount of clicks, the puzzle you were on will hide itself and a new one will be shown. However, when any active puzzle is solved, that puzzle will no longer be able to reveal itself, and a new link chain will be formed, in this case until there's exactly one left. The next page will explain the types of puzzles that can be found in this module, as well as their rules, and all of these are fairly straightforward to do. I will explain them as they pop up. So now, in this case, we're taking a look at Kakurasu for this first one. So each cell can have a black square, and each black square has a value. So now in this case, the black cell is the one that has the value, the white cells are the one that does not. The cell's value for the column in its position in its column is going from top to bottom. In this case, is going to be equal to 1 through 4. So for each column is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And for the cell's rows in its position, in its row going from left to right, is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to fill in the grid in such a way that each row and column have the black squares that sum to the values indicated on the sides. So in this case, we want this row to sum up to 3. We want this row to sum up to 3, sum up to 3, sum up to 5 here. And we want this column to sum up to 8, then 4, then 2, then 4. And we're going to do this based off of these values here. Now, one thing that's important to note is that we got to remember that each of these black values is going to be associated with, each of them is associated with the value. The white ones are going to be the ones that are going to be omitting that value. So in this case, what we have here on this column right here is we have 2, 3, and 4 being summed up. This, however, does not equal 8, so in this case, this is incorrect. Now, one of the nice things about 8 is that 8 is only possible, I believe, with one combination, and that's 1 of 3, 4. I think that that's right. Yes, it should be. So now all we simply need to do is we simply need to change this, and just like that, this column already works. Now, we're not going to be able to solve this puzzle immediately because of the fact that an indeterminate amount of clicks will send us to another random puzzle at some given point. But this column is set for us to go, and we can note that down later in our heads if we wanted to. Now, here's where things get a little bit interesting. So we have several different solutions for how we could potentially do 4, but we need to figure out the solution for how we figure out the rows as well. Because the 4 could just simply be 4 by itself. However, that's going to cause problems later down the line if we happen to do 4 as well right here. Because if we try to do 5 with this position, in this case, if we do if we do 2 and then 4, 1, 2, 4, because remember this is the row that we're looking at here, and they go from left to right for the values, we'd be simply adding 1, 2, and 4 together, which would give us a total of 7. That would not work. So what we need to do is we need to likely look at the other rows and determine how we can figure stuff out from here on out. But for right now, what I'm probably going to do is I'm probably just going to, well, 2 is also good as well. 2 is only one possibility. You can't have 1 and 2 because that goes up to 3. So in this case, 2 has already been settled as well. So we know for a fact that we're not going to be adding 3 into this at all. So that's perfectly fine. So let's take a look. And we know for a fact that 1 is going to be relevant in this 3 row. So we're going to get rid of this one, and we're going to make this one black right here. And now, as you can see, the puzzle has just changed. This is now a Sudoku puzzle. So now, each cell has a value from 1 to 4. For those of you who are familiar with Kudo Sudoku, this is going to be the exact same concept, except getting rid of the entire submission part. This one I would recommend probably saving this one for last when it's just the last puzzle by itself, because of the fact that this module takes a while to interact with it, because of the fact that you have to click on each individual cell, and it counts up. These count for clicks as well, and as you can see, that's all there really is to it. And now we can actually go back to Kakurasu. So, now, I don't know exactly what changed if this one is the one that is linked to it, but in this case, it looks a tiny bit different, so maybe it did. But as I was mentioning beforehand, this 3 is only going to be possible with 1 and 2 because of the fact that we already have 1 guaranteed with this 8 column here. We know that for a fact. Which then forces us to do 1 and 3 for this 4, and that works out perfectly well. Now, we know for a fact that we're not going to be adding 2 into this equation, so this means that the only possibility that we have left for this row is doing 1 and 4, so therefore this has to be left. And just like that, that actually was the solution to the puzzle. So now, we're never going to see Kakurasu again, because of the fact that that was all we simply needed to do with that puzzle. I didn't even mean to intentionally solve that, but we just happened to do that. So now, this is plumbing. This is going to be the way that plumbing looks. And we're going to rotate all the pipes such that they are all connected to a single group. In this case, that's going to be starting from the yellow right over here. And to solve this puzzle, all pipes must have an opening connected to another pipe, i.e. no leaks. So it's fairly simple to do this one. You can kind of just go with it. The whites indicate that they are connected to the main pipe. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're good to go. So now we're back to Sudoku. I'm simply just going to mash until we get to this one later. This one I think is just much easier to get this out of the way. And we're back to plumbing. So let's go here with this one. Okay, we're going to go back to here. Let's keep mashing for Sudoku. And as you can see, this module is a bit easy to cheese if you want to just simply focus on one individual puzzle. And now we've entered into lights out, the last one that we haven't seen yet. So each cell can either be on or off, and pressing any cell with will toggle its state as well as its other immediate orthogonal neighbors, left, right, up, and down. And we're simply going to be turning every cell off in order to complete this puzzle. So in this case, you can tell what on or off is. On is going to be white, off is going to be black. And the easy way to do this is actually pretty simple. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to go row by row, starting at the second row actually. And I toggle these cells that have a white space above it. So in this case, we're going to toggle this one, and this one. Then we're going to toggle this one, and then we're going to do this one. And then as you can see, we're very close to being done with this one. I'm going to get back to lights out just because that one is very close to being done. And as you can see, all we simply need to do is do this one. And just like that, that puzzle is complete. That one is a very simple puzzle to do. It's, for those of you who are familiar with either 15 Mystic Lights or Lights Out, the Needy, that one is a fairly simple concept to do. All you simply need to do is, the nice and easy way to do it is going, is starting at the second row, any white cell at the top that has, that simply doesn't match, or any white cell in the above row, you simply press the cell below it, and then you go row by row, and then just it solves the puzzle. So now, Sudoku is giving us a perfect example of what happens when you press other cells that are linked to others. As you can see, I did not place a bunch of these ones from beforehand in the puzzle previously, and it's all. This is exactly why I saved Sudoku for later, because of the fact that you're going to need to interact with this module a lot. It's going to require a lot of quick clicks, and I'd rather just save this one for later. So, honestly, let's just finish up plumbing, because we're not done with that one yet. We're very close to it, however. I believe we can get this one done. So let's go here. Okay, we'll go back to it real quick. Just go to a cell that we haven't interacted with. We're not over there yet. Let's go here. Let's go here. Here. Maybe do something like that. I could see that being a solution. Okay. Almost there. Okay. There we go. That one is now done, and now all we simply have to do is just focus on Sudoku. I'm going to get rid of all of these gray numbers. The white ones are the ones that are guaranteed. They cannot be interacted with. And actually, probably what you could end up doing is just not interacting with any of these other positions, and just simply hit the white one a bunch of times. But as you can see now, I'm simply clicking into Oblivion. All of the other puzzles have been solved. So now all we simply need to do is solve this one, and the module will be done. Now, the nice thing about this is that there's no possible ways of getting strikes. That's one of the nicest things about this module. So, for those of you who are familiar with how Sudoku works, we simply need to have the 1 through 4 numbers in each quadrant appear exactly once, and we want to make sure that they don't appear in the same row or same column as any other ones in any other quadrants. So in this case, we have this 1 right up here in this first row. We cannot have it in the first row, and we need a 1 in one of these 2 spots over here, so therefore 1 has to be right here. And we know that for a fact that each value has to be unique in its own quadrant, so therefore this has to be 4. Next up, 2 cannot go in either of these 2 spaces. This quadrant does indeed need a 2, therefore this is our 2. The 3 cannot go in this column because we already have a 3 here, so therefore this is our 3. This is our 4. And as you can see, it kind of just comes together. This is our 2, this is our 1. 4 cannot go in this row or this column, so therefore it has to go here. 1 goes here, 2 goes here, and 3 goes here. And just like that, the module itself will close, and that's when you know that you have solved the module. I don't know why the highlight is so big, but that's not for me to question. So, let's do one more example. This module is fairly straightforward. Nice, easy, simple puzzles. So now let's go on over here. I'm going to simply just mass click because this one is just nice and easy to do. This is a nice lights out. So we'll do, remember what I said, if it has a white above and you're starting the second row, you're simply going to click that space and go row by row. So here and here. And as you can see, all we simply need to do is click the bottom right. Interesting thing to know is actually you cannot click these do not count as clicks, so you have to click something else. Okay, now we're on the Kakarasu. And remember, these the black cells are the ones that has the values, not the white cells. 9 simply has to do with all of them, so all of these are going to be black. That's quite a nice guarantee. Is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus 3 is 6. No, that's a lie. That's, excuse me. It would be 2, 3, 4. Yes, 2, 3, 4. So get rid of you, get rid of you. My bad. And then for 7, we could do 3, 4 here, potentially. Alright, we'll come back to you. That sounds a bit interesting. Okay. So not much has changed. That's good, that's good. That 7 is still alright. This 3 is going to be a bit of an issue. It can't be 3 by itself because of the fact that 4 as a column wouldn't work. There's no such thing as 2 and 2. So this one has to be 1, 2 for you. Mark you off. Which means it's either 1, 3, or 4. So let's take a look. It can't be 4 by itself because of the fact that 6 is going to be... No, 6 could be done with 1, 2, 3. That is indeed true. No, it can't be 1, 2, 3 because of the fact that 4 for this column is greater than 2. It doesn't work. So it has to be 2, 4 in this case. So it has to be this. And just like that, that one accidentally solved. So, spam Sudoku, because I don't care about doing Sudoku right now. We got to do a little bit of this. This one is certainly close. And just like that, that one's done as well. Now let's do plumbing. We can. This one looks like it's coming along well. Okay, we're almost there. Spam. That's fine. Let's go here, let's go here, let's go here. We're almost there. I'm just going to spam. But yeah, the indeterminate clicks really is not the biggest problem that I'd be concerned about, because of the fact that you can just spam and just go to another puzzle. It's quite frankly really simple to exploit. Um, there's no real reason why you need to worry about that, especially because you can't strike either. So it's a fairly simple module to do. So now let's just do Sudoku normally, and let's take a look. So this can't be 2. So this therefore has to be 3. This has to be 2. This has to be 1. This has to be 4. This has to be 4. This has to be 2. 2 can go here or here, so it has to be 2 here. It has to be 3. It has to be 4. It has to be 1. It has to be 3, and has to be 1. Just like that. There we go. Solve module, solve bomb. And that's all there really is to this module. A fairly simple module, 4 easy puzzles into there. And overall, nice, easy to do, not much else to say about it. As always, thank you guys for watching. Remember to stay crazy, stay cool, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.